Hi guys, and welcome back to Rishi's World. So this month, for the first time ever, I am going to be using a TBR prompt jar or cauldron to pick out my May reads. I've never done this before and I'm super excited. So I have written out, I think 50 maybe prompts. Oops, I'm dropping them everywhere. To help me pick out my reads for the next month, and I'll just do a lucky dip. This is my TBR cart. Every unread book that I own is on this trolley. There's a couple round the back, but unless I can't find one that matches the prompt out the front, I don't envision turning it around trying to find one from there, because I know that my most anticipated are on the front. And numbers wise, so I'm thinking 9 just because it's so much fun. Well, I envision it being so much fun to pick them out and choose them. And that is ambitious because I think I've read 8 this month, which isn't quite over, but that's my highest reading month of the year, which means I'll probably go down a little bit next month. And most of my months this year have been 5 or 6 books in a month. So at least it gives me a bit of mood reading leeway having 9, because I can pick what I fancy from the 9. And I've decided that so it actually means something when I pick one off the trolley. If I don't get to it next month, then when I pick my TBR for June, any prompts that can be matched by one of the books I've had to put back from the month before, then I have to choose it. So say I pulled a book with even number of pages and I didn't get round to one last month and it was on here. If I had an even number of pages, I would have to pick it for that prompt because, you know, so I can't get out of reading a book just because I don't want to. Because I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't ever want to. So anyway, let's get started. Right, so you can see before me. I've got my eyes closed. What's this say? Most recent book you bought. Haha! So these are the 2 most recent books that I bought. I bought them both yesterday at the same time because it was 2 for £9 in Asda. Now this one I kind of want to choose because it's short. I've been picking out 9 this month, and also it has been pretty viral. I haven't seen much of it on BookTube and things like that, but I've seen a lot of it on my Facebook groups. And then this one, obviously it's a bad boy, but I've only read the first ACOTAR book and it was before Christmas, which makes me feel like I need to really carry on, otherwise I'll forget what happened. Oh, this is a tricky one. Do you know what? I'm going to go for this one, because that way, if I do really enjoy it, I can put the next book on next, you know, I can buy the next book to hopefully anticipate reading next month and do like 1 a month or something. Oh, bye-bye short book. Hello long book. So for the prompt of most recent book you read, I have chosen A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I can't believe I picked a big one for my first go. Okay. An author you've never read. Okay, do you know what? I could choose The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, because as much as a lot of people, you know, are hooked on her books, I've never read one. And do you know what? As much as I want to read these 2 books, I think this is the one I'm going to pick for this prompt of an author I've not read before, because it's borrowed off somebody, and I can pass it on to somebody else after I've read it. So, because it's not my book and I would like to be able to pass it on timely, I will choose that. Okay, so for an author you've never read, I've chosen A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. I'm doing quite well actually so far. These look like a good reading month. Well, I've only picked 2 out of the 9. a book with a number in the title. Well, at least I haven't picked one already and lost the chance. Okay, 5 Survive. I was just thinking then, I didn't know if I would have one. Okay, so I wasn't expecting to have 4 to choose from actually. I'm just going to have a little quick little look and see what they're about. I think I'm going to go with 5 Survive actually by Holly Jackson. Just because it's YA, and I think with me having a lot of books on my TBR this month, this might help me, you know, be quite easy reading and quick reading to get through. And I've seen a lot of people rate it 5 stars. I think Hayley Fan rated it really highly on her YouTube channel, or at least somebody did. I've definitely seen people comment on how good this book was. So for a book with a number in the title, I have gone for 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. So let's go for it. A book with flowers on the cover. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so I think Belladonna had flowers on the cover, so does Foxglove? Yes, obviously. It's got, I'm assuming they're foxgloves, but I don't know much about flowers. So we've got this as an option. I did really enjoy Belladonna. Then we've got If Only I Had Told Her. Before I make a choice between the ones with flowers, I'm just going to Google if this is the first one, because that If He Had Been With Me, I'm not sure which one came first. Even if they're standalones, I'd rather read them in the correct order. So I'm just going to double check before I pick that one. Ooh, this one I actually don't know anything about. I just saw it on the shelf and thought that it was really pretty, and it's got flowers on. Okay, that sounds quite interesting. Inheritance Games. That's got green roses around it. I think it's basically just going to come down to which one I fancy reading the most. Which one am I going to choose out of these? Okay, so this one, I did notice when I picked it up before that it says copyright 2024, so I am going to assume that If He Had Been With Me is before this. So just in case there's any link up between them, I'm going to leave this one until I have bought the other one. So out of these 3, do I carry on with the series? Do I start one, or do I read what I think is a standalone? Okay, so this one, the blurb says, combining Greek mythology with influencer vibes. Those We Drown took me on a wild ride. I've wanted to go on a cruise, but this made me think twice. I loved it, as in loved the book. And I think they are on like a ship or a cruise or something like that, with like these sirens that are influencers who seem to run the ship. And I am actually going on my first ever cruise in June. So rather than read this in May, I think it might be quite cool if I save it and hope to try and pick it next month. Because I could read this on my Caribbean cruise, seeing as it's a bit, sounds like a bit of a thriller type, magical-y, I don't know, yeah. So now it's down to, do I start a new series, or do I carry on reading one I've already started? Okay, I have decided I'm going to start The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I will explain the reason why. So, with me going on holiday in June, I'm actually going away for a month because my sister lives in the States, So I'm going to go visit her, and then while we're there, we're going to travel to Miami to go on a cruise with them. And obviously I'm going to want to take books with me or have books to read. And if I've started a series and I like it, I know that's going to be a win to pick the next book in the series to take with me. And obviously the next one after Foxglove, if there is one, is it a trilogy or a duology? Anyway, I know that there isn't going to be, if there is another book after that, it's not going to be out at the time. So I wouldn't be able to pick it as like a guaranteed like. So I'm going to choose for a book with flowers on the cover, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It does have lots of roses on it. They're just all sort of green around the outside. I have seen a lot of this over like BookTube and things like that. Okay, next one. A book based on a true story. Do I have any here based on a true story? Okay, so I think I'm going to have to repick this prompt. And I will put this back, but at the end of this picking session. Because in the future, there may be one that is based on a true story. Oops, dropped one. Or maybe I should go for the one I dropped. A hardback book. Okay. So left, I've got Cheetah by Karen Rose and Foxglove by Adeline Grace. Ooh, tricky one, because this is one of my favourite authors ever, and I've read all of her books. I've got like, I don't think you can see up there, but I've got nearly two whole shelves of my bookshelf are Karen Rose books. So she's like one of my favourite authors of all time, and I did meet her once and she's lovely. But her latest books haven't been as good, in my opinion. Obviously, everything's subjective, as her earlier ones. And then we've got Foxglove, where I've read the first book recently. Really want to read the other one. But I've already picked The Inheritance Games, and I've picked Five Survive, and I've picked A Court of Mist and Fury. You know, like where the characters are younger. That I might go for this one. I really want to read this as well. And I keep not picking it. I don't know why. But for a hardback book, I'm picking Cheetah by Karen Rose. Right, okay. So this is number 6. A book with a person on the cover. Okay. Okay. So for a book with a person on the cover, the two books that I feel match the prompt the best are Sister Stardust by Jane Green, or the second instalment in the Percy Jackson series. Now, I read the first one recently just because I had seen like younger people on like BookTube really enjoyed the series, but I did find it was too young for me. Like not even in Harry Potter young. Like Harry Potter I think still appeals to adults. This literally felt like it would only appeal to children. But it, you know, it's easy reading. And I could read one every now and again just to see if I want to continue with the series or not. And then there's this one, Sister Stardust. It's set in 1960s Marrakesh. So I want to read this, but I think I'll get through this quicker. So I'm going to go for this month, just because I've got some big uns. So for a book with a person on the cover, we have gone for Percy Jackson and The Sea of Monsters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on prompt number 7. Oh, I picked up 2, so I should come back. A book with an animal on the cover. I think I'm finally picking it, guys. There may be more, but I just keep, this one keeps like, it keeps being perfect for every prompt, and I'm just not going to say no anymore. Just out of interest, are there any others with animals on the front? I think so. There you go. For a book with, what is it? A book with an animal on the cover, I have picked Foxglove by Adeline Grace. You watch, now that I've picked this after saying no for several prompts in a row, it'll be one of the first I get to. I don't know how I kept saying no, I really want to read it. Okay, so number 8. A book with an LGBTQIA+ theme. And I think, I know this one is Amanda Has a Secret. At her old school, she used to be called Andrew, and secrets always have a way of getting out. It says it's a book about loving yourself and being loved for who you really are. And it's been blurred by Jennifer Niven, who wrote all the Bright Places. So I think this is the only one that meets this that I know of without literally looking into synopsises of all the books in case there's like a hidden character in there somewhere. But this is definitely going to hit the brief. And it's actually the theme of the book rather than just like a subplot or a sub-character. So I'm going to go with If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo for the LGBTQIA+. So is this the last one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, last one. Which is probably good, otherwise this video would be about 5 hours long. A book with a great first sentence. Okay, so for this one, I might have to like look through all of the book's first sentences. So I'll probably speed that up. Do I do prologue or do I do chapter 1? Okay, this doesn't have a good first sentence, but I have just realised that it is my book club's pick of the month. So I think without a prompt, I'm going to have to add it into the mix because I'm going to have to get round to it this month. So what have I got here? We've got, I'm serving the 5th year of a life sentence for murdering my own child. That to me is interesting. It makes me want to read more. And yeah. So for a book with a great first sentence, we're going with Harley Coben, I Will Find You. And I've only ever read like 1 or 2 of Harlan Coben's books before. But obviously a lot of them are turned into TV shows. And obviously that's going to be for a reason. So I'm just putting this one based on a true story back into the mix ready for next month. They're the books that I need to read in May. I mean, to be fair, there's 10 books there. And I said I wouldn't read them all, even if I read these thin ones. I still made a big dent, and then 1 or 2 of the others. Anyway, I'm going to read as many as I can this month. As many of them. See you next month, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.